Welcome back to my channel. So in this video I'm going to be showing you guys how to make this beach wear. Have a circle skirt, but it has two slits in front. So guys, how we're going to do this is basically measure around your waist, like where you're going to be pulling the skirt. So let's say around your waist is about, let's say 30 inches, right? You're going to go ahead, because of the two slits in front, each side of the slit will need 2 inches, each side of the slit will need 2 inches to sew it down. You're going to need 2 inches of your zip allowance for one side of the zipper and the other side of the zipper, if that makes sense, right? So now that's going to be plus extra 4 inches, right? And then you need a zipper at the back of the skirt, so that's going to be plus extra 2 inches. But if you're doing just one slit in front, like one side slit, then do plus 2 inches. But since I'm doing two side slits, right, it's going to be plus 4. And then you're just going to add, let's say, extra like 4 inches in total. This is just to give you a little gather to it, right? So it's not exactly your waist measurement, so it can add to the flay. So you can do extra 5 inches or so, depending on how much fabric you're working with. If you have a lot of fabric, then that's good, then you can do more than 4, but just be careful and be sure of the amount of fabric you have that you're working with. So now you're going to sum up all this. So 30 plus the 4 inches for my the slit, the two sides of the slit, plus the 2 inches for my back zipper allowance, and then plus the 4 inches, right? So that's going to give me 40. So the waist I'm actually working with now is going to be 40, right? So this 40 inches now, you're going to, so this is actually 40 that we're working with. 40, you're going to divide it. This is a constant for everybody. You're going to divide it by 3.14, right? Because you're cutting half a circle. So I'm going to divide this by 3.14. So if I do that, I'm going to be working with about 12.7. So let's call it about 13 inches is what I'm working with. Now, the next thing you have to, so this is going to serve as my waist, right? The next thing you're going to do now is to measure out your, the length of the skirt. So go back now and you're going to measure from your waist to the end, like maybe up to your ankle or wherever you want, maybe to the floor, wherever you want the length of the skirt to be. So whatever you get, like 40. So you get 40 to be the length of your skirt, right? And then this 40 now, what you're going to do is you're going to take away for the band, right? So let's say you're going to take away 2 inches for your band, or let's say 1 inch for the band, depending on the size of band you're working with. So let's say you do 1 inch for the band, I'm going to be left with 39. And then this 39, you're going to add to it 1 inch of folding the edge of the skirt, and then plus half an inch of joining the inside of this to band, right? So that's 0.5. So in total, what you're going to have is 40.5 is going to be the length. So now we've calculated the width, we've calculated everything. So now I know that what I'm working with is also 40.5, right? For the length of the skirt, and then this is for the waist of the skirt. So now what I'll show you guys. So let me use this fabric. So the one I'm using, the fabric I actually used is like a satin fabric. You can use a crepe fabric. You can use any fabric that has mostly this type of fabric. They are cut by 60. It's not really a Akara fabric that has starch. It's just any fabric that is light and can, like when the wind blows, it flows with the wind. So this one, I'm using this as an example now. So basically, you see, this is the length here, this is the width of the fabric, and then this is the length here. So basically what you're going to do is first you fold it into 2, but make sure that when you fold it into 2, right, you see I've folded it into 2 now, but I'll make sure that this fold I have here, I hope you guys can see, you see one end of the fold here, you see the other side, this is folded into 2. Make sure that when you fold it into 2, that the 13 inches can fit into this length, and then also wherever the 13 inches stops, the 40.5 can also fit in on this folded fabric. Like make sure that it can fit in. So basically you might need about maybe 2.5 or 2.5 yards of fabric, right? If you're working with crepe that is by 60, you might need 2.5 yards of fabric, because in total this is about 53.5, right? If I add it up now, that means the length of the skirts I'm working with should be about the length of the fabric folded into two, which is this way, should be about 53.5, which is adding this 13 to this 40.5, right? So that means my fold here should contain the 53.5. So once you've done that, the next thing you're going to do is just to take that fabric this way. Just for the purpose of this video, you can keep it this way and then take your chalk and start marking 13 inches from the waist like this. Place your tape at the tip where this fold is, not by the opened side, where the fold is, and then you're just going to place your tape and mark the 13, like whatever you got as the first measurement. That's after calculating your weight and all the your waist and all the extra measurements, and you divided it by 3.14. That's how we got the 13 for this one, right? So basically you're going to place it and then you're going to mark 13 all over from the waist, right? And then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to add up these two, which is 53.5, like I said. And now you're going to take your tape, place it again at this point here, and then you're going to mark that one also. So like I said, it's 53. You're going to take it and mark it, and then you're going to keep moving your tape 53.5 all the way, and then you cut out the skirt. You cut it here and then you cut it here. So now that we've done that, I'm going to take this out and show you guys what we're talking about on a smaller scale. So basically what I was trying to say is your fabric by width this way, maybe by this way is going to be 60 inches, but then by this way is going to be how many yards of fabric you're working with. So when you fold it into two, make sure that it can fit in your waist measurement, whatever you got as your waist, plus the length of the skirt that you're working with. It fits in on this side, which it was what I was trying to explain as the 50 something, right? This is where the yards of fabric you're working with will come in, right? So now what you're going to do is to take your tape, place it here. So let's say the first measurement I got was I'm going to use 4 inches here, right? Because this is just a paper that I'm trying to use as illustration, right? I'm just going to mark it here. So let's say this is it here for the waist. I've marked that one. And then the length of the skirt, let's say the length of my skirt is about 9.5, right? So I'm going to take my tape again and measure from here and just get that measurement in. So guys, this 4 inches I marked is where the 13 is supposed to be, and this one here is where normally the 40.5 is supposed to be, right? So what I'm going to do is just to go ahead and cut out the waist out, and then the next thing you're going to do is just to go ahead and cut out the lower part too after you've marked it, right? And then once you do that, the next thing you have to do is just to take it while it's still this way. But let me open it, just because this is a paper, I can always fold it back. You see, this is half a circle we are working with. If I had another version of this now, it would have been a full circle, but we're working with a half a circle, right? So now with this way, remember we added room for our zipper, which was supposed to be 1 inch, right? I'm going to go ahead and mark the zipper now. This was where our zip is going to be, because this is the opening at the back, right? The skirt is going to look something like this, and then there's going to be this zipper. This opening here is going to fall behind, right? The only cut is going to be at the center back for the zipper. We're not slitting it any other place, except you're trying to add pockets. That's a whole different type of video, because you're going to slit it differently. So now what we're going to, and you're going to need to add seam allowance for that one also, right? If you're going to add pocket, then you're going to do extra 4 inches again, because you need 2 inches on each side. But let me not confuse you guys with that. So let's go back to what we were saying before. This is what it looks like now because of the zipper, right? And then this is the center of our skirt. Go ahead and notch the center of your skirt now, right? This is the center front. Where the opening is the back of the skirt. How you're going to get the slits, because the whole point of this video is to show you guys how to get the two slits and put it in the right place, right? so that so that you can be able to distribute the flay properly, right? That's what I'm trying to show you guys here. So the first thing I'm going to do is to take this skirt, fold it into two, leaving, I'm going to share it equally. I'm going to take my skirt, fold it into two, but then leaving that 1 inch of zipper allowance, right? Because this is half of my skirt. The part with this center part is the center of my skirt, right? The part with the fold is the center of the skirt. The part with the opening is the back of the skirt. So what I have to do is just take it, after cutting it, take it this way, fold it into two, but leaving that 1 inch for my zipper at the back, right? So I've folded it now, and then I've made another, I've divided it into four. So the quarter of my skirt is this part here now, which would normally be at the side, right? So this part now would be the side. If I was trying to put a pocket here, I would have slit it by this side now, because I know this is the side of my skirt, right? It's shared equally, so I know this is the side, so I know this is where the pocket would be. But what I'm going to do, once this is done, you're now going to take this one again. Let me just mark it so you guys will see. So this would have been the center, this would have been the side of the skirt, right? This is this front, this is the back, this is the center. And then this other one now, this front part now, what I'm going to do is to fold it again. On your fabric, it might be a little bit difficult, but you need to find a bigger surface, like a wider surface. Maybe do it on the floor, right? That way you don't confuse yourself. So you're going to take this other half of the skirt again, fold it again, and then this is where your slit will come in, right? This will be the center, because you can't do your nipple to nipple and then mark it. This is a flay skirt, right? If you decide to do from the center of the skirt, like how you'd normally do on a pencil skirt, and do nipple to nipple measurement and put it in, it will be too close together to the front. So it's better you take this other the other quarter, divide it into two again, right? And then this is where you're going to now insert your slit on this other side now. How I do mine is by using, because you not use your pen on the fabric, right? So you can use your chalk, or you can also use your scissors to notch it. By notching it, you're just going to notch it at the top, and then where you folded it, you also notch it at the bottom. So you know that from this point to this point is just a straight line in between. And then the same thing is what I'm going to do for this other quarter now. I'm going to notch it at the top, and then I'm also going to notch it at the bottom. That way I know that, so that because you don't want to notch it at the top here, right? You notch it at this point here, and then you're going to cut this flay this way. Just so that you can be able to get it equally, you have to start with finding half of the skirt first, right? And then you find the quarter, which is this line here, and then you divide the other one again, right? That way the flay is equal. You see, this side is the same as this side and this side, you see? So now once you've done that, the next thing you have to do is just to take your scissors and slide into this line. What I like to do is, because this is a flowy skirt, I don't like to cut it to the very end. Because if I cut it here, there will be a lot of fabric and it will start to confuse me. So I like to leave about 5 inches before I get to the top, right? And then what I'm going to do is just to take it this way now. As I've already notched it at the top, you see what it's going to look like. So if I'm wearing this skirt now, this part is going towards my side here. This is my side, this is my side, this is my center front, and then this is where my legs are going to come out, because this is where the slant is. You understand? This is where the notch would have been. Like this would have been where your nipple to nipple would have been on a fabric. On a pencil or a straight skirt. If you understand what I'm saying. So now with that said, what I like to do is I just go to my sewing machine the way it is now. Like I said, I don't like to cut it all the way to the top. I just take it, go to the sewing machine, go to where I notched it at the top, and then all I have to do is just to take it and sew it down using that 1 inch I left behind. Right now I can use it because this will help keep the fabric together. These 5 inches that I did not close up will help keep the fabric together. So I'm just going to go to my sewing machine and then follow that part of the fabric that is still stuck together instead of cutting it all the way to the end. And then I'm just going to sew to where I want the slip to stop. Sew all the way. You see me sewing, like take this line as sewing, right? and then you get to this point, you double stitch it, like you stitch it several times so it doesn't open up, right? And then the next thing you're going to do is just to take this side to close up the slit. You just take this side of the skirt, sew it down this way, so it's come up. And then when you get to this point here, you cross over to the other side and then do the same thing, sew it again, fold it just like how you fold your normal fabric, just like this. And that's basically how you sewed your skirt. So now you see it will have a clean finish, because this would have been folded by now. Sorry, this would be folded by now like this would look something like this, and then my slit would look something like this. So you see, so now I'm going to move over to my fabric so you guys will see. So this is what it would have looked like if it's on fabric. You've folded this side away, you've also folded this side away, and that's basically it. So guys, this is it here. So you see what the skirt is looking like. There's this portion here on the side which is wider, right? And then there's this portion by the center which is still the center slit, the center part. Guys, remember, like I said, you can have one slit, you don't have to do two. This is the center. There's a notch here to show that this is the center of the skirt, right? And then there's this notch on the side to show the sides, right? So this other one is also going towards the side. So as you can see, the waist still goes round like half a circle. You see, half a circle, that is what we used here. But just notice that the front piece here, coming up to the front here, from here to here is where we sewed for the slit. And this part here, I didn't really use the dart nipple to nipple, because remember, this will have small gather, not too much. So that's why it can't be the nipple to nipple, because what I have here is actually more, you see, is almost 11 inches, which is not nipple to nipple. It's just that little amount of fabric, fabric that we added just to give it a little more fullness than instead of using the person's exact waist measurement, right? So now see what I did on this side. You see, like when we were slitting it, this is what we did here. You see, I didn't slit it all the way to the top, so that because this is a circle skirt, I want to still be able to place it properly. So her slit is going to end from her waist to about 9 inches down, right? So that's where this slit is going to end, from the waist to 9 inches down. So that's why I just, you see, this part here is still on a fold. It's just the fold of the fabric, but you see my slit, I came up here. So I just left it at the way it is now. So I'm just going to take it now. I already cut out what will be the band of the skirt. My waist is 35. I added 2 inches more to it. So in total, the length I have here in total is 37. 1 inch on this side and 1 inch on this side for the zip, right? So I'm going to find halfway through, fold this into two, find halfway to, which is here, notch it, right? And then I'm going to sew the band to the skirt. So I'm going to take it, sew it, getting to the side. I also have a notch here, and then I'll make sure that I'm also by the side of the band. So you're going to notch this band in 3 places. You're going to notch it first by the center, which we already did, and then you're going to notch it again 1 inch before the end, which will help you know where the side will be. You understand? So the center, the side, and then the back, right? So that's why we folded it this many times. So now we have the side. So as I'm folding my band now, right, as I take this thing now, I go to this part. I know that the notch at the center is where my center will be. So any gather I have to make in between will be until I get to the next notch that I made on my fabric, which is here. And that notch is going to go to the side, this part of this band, right? I hope what I'm saying makes sense. I have a center notch on the skirt. I have a center notch on the band. I have a side notch on the skirt. I have a side notch on the band. So when I'm sewing it from this notch to this notch on the skirt to this notch on the skirt, I'll make sure it fits in between this part, just with a slight gather, right? And then from this side notch to the end of the skirt, which is where my zipper will come in, I'll make sure this part here fits in with just a little tiny pleats in between, right, to help pull it together. Because remember, the waist we use is way bigger than our normal waist. So I'm going to go ahead now and join this whole thing together, and then I'll bring it back. So once I get to the back, after putting my band, I will put a zip at the back, like close it up entirely. So guys, this is the skirt here. You see the waist is ready, and then this is the side here. Like I said, she wanted like from here, the waist to about 10 inches or 9 inches down before the opening. And then once you look at it, you see this is the center, and then there's 2 slits here, one on this side, one on this side, and then this goes in between. This is just like a beach wear. So, and then you see, if you're looking at it, you see the center seam, and then you look here, you see the zip. It's just one seam for this skirt here, right? And you can do one side, it depends on you what you want. So this is just sewed from this side. One side came up here, and then I crossed over. You see my seam crossing over to this end, and then I went down on the other end to sew it that way. So that's basically how you do it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Please guys, like, share and subscribe. Bye.